support.
The maestro, please.
First pop analysis of 2026, and we're kind of starting off the same way we started 2025 and how we ended 2024. And that's because today we're going to be looking at yet another Bruno Mars track, I Just Might.
Bruno Mars.
We've been talking about Bruno Mars for a while now, the last three being and then we ended 2024. And then we started 2025.
Just meet me at the
And even since then, he did yet another duet, that being
Pretty pussy, top of pussy, you ain't never gonna forget. Fat, juicy, and wet, 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 wet.
So this is the first time in quite some time that we're talking about just Bruno Mars.
Background.
I Just Might was released on January 9th, 2026, charting later that same month at number 1, where it still sits currently at the end of said month. I Just Might is the lead single of what's going to be his fourth album, The Romantic, which is scheduled to be released on February 27th. Minus Bruno Mars, we have DeMille, Philip Lawrence, and Brody Brown. Now, we talked about DeMille back when we did Die With a Smile, and ever since then, he's gotten one other pop credit to his name, that being
Could I be the number one girl in your eyes?
As for Philip Lawrence and Brody Brown, combining with Bruno Mars, making their trio the Shampoo Press and Curl, they have all actually been probably working on just this album, as we talked about them previously when we did APT, but they haven't been up to much since then. Besides, I'm guessing this album. I Just Might is released solely by Atlantic.
Form.
I Just Might is listed as a disco pop and pop soul song. It's just over 3.5 minutes, F major, 4/4 time, and 103 beats per minute. Besides the counting, we start the song off with an intro. We then go to the first verse.
You stepped inside with a vibe I ain't never seen.
The first pre-chorus.
It would break my heart, break my heart, break my heart.
The first chorus.
Hey, Mr. DJ.
And then a post-chorus, which is really just the intro with some added stuff.
I just might.
We then get a second verse.
But what good is beauty if your booty can't find a beat?
A second pre-chorus.
Cause when I take it to the floor, ooh, you gotta get down. You know what to do.
And a second chorus.
If she dances good as she look right now.
But then we go to a bridge,
It's the part where you break it all the way down, down, down.
which then gives way to the third chorus, which is twice as long as any of the others.
I just might make her my baby. I just might make her my baby.
And the song ultimately ends with a second post-chorus.
Oh, I just might.
Guitar.
The guitar is actually our main harmonic figure, and for the most part, it just goes back and playing F major and G minor 7. Given on that G minor 7, it does play it a little later in the bar, an octave up for some added flavor. As we lead into the chorus, it switches things, now going back and forth between A minor 7 and G minor 7, still very heavily syncopated and even more so than during the rest of the song. It basically repeats that, but as we transition out of the chorus, it goes through that A minor 7, B flat major 7, before this B flat over C chord held out for 2 bars, and again, heavily syncopated. It's not until the bridge that we actually start getting some more melodic figures from the guitar. Now, the bridge pretty much is just going back and forth between A minor 7 and G minor 7, but you have these various noodling bits that it does in between them.
Bass.
One of the more active bass parts we've looked at, it's good to note that the entire bass line is actually doubled with a synth line, although you could argue it's just distortion that's been put on the bass guitar. Regardless, you can see how active it is, doing these various 8th note and 16th note runs, and as far as a bass go, it's pretty wide in terms of its range. And in fact, it gets even more active during the chorus, doing more 16th notes as opposed to 8th notes, given there are quarter notes throughout. Its range is a little wider too, hitting that G way below the staff all the way to the A at the bottom of the staff. That range goes even further in the second part of the chorus, going all the way to the C in the middle of the staff. The other additional figure we get is during the bridge, a lot more calmed down compared to what it's been doing before, but that range is still very wide, again, that G to the A.
Brass.
A full brass section consisting of 2 trumpets up top, a sax in the middle, and a trombone at the bottom. Kind of a supporting harmonic figure, and they only play during the chorus. You can see they're doing these interesting voicings. G minor 7 over F major, going through an A flat minor 7 over G flat to a proper A minor 7 over G, and hitting that G minor 7 over F, going back and forth, but again, very syncopated, almost similar to guitar, but it's a bit more drawn out. They have more held notes. As they continue through the chorus, they then change just like everything else has thus far. They go through that A minor 7 over C to that B flat major 7 over D, and finally end on that B flat major over D with an added 9th, which in this case would be C.
Organ.
A proper keyboard amongst all this craziness. Now you can see here that the chords it's doing are identical to that of the brass that we just talked about. Difference being is that the organ is holding them out as opposed to just trying to do syncopated rhythms with them. That continues again into the second part of the chorus, but instead of re-articulating that B flat D you add 9, it just holds it out for those 2 bars. Now, all that being said, the organ does get one additional figure during the bridge, given it is just going back and forth between an A minor 7 over C and a G minor 7 over D. You can see how these voicings are a lot lower, though, than it was doing previously in the chorus.
Intro.
The intro has this figure that we're going to talk about again during the post-chorus, but it starts off on that high F and first works its way down to that A, and then it repeats that, although instead of ending on the A, it ends on the F an octave lower.
Verse.
Comparatively to the rest of everything we've talked about so far, the verse lyrics aren't actually all that syncopated. Of course, I say this, there's a triplet figure, and then we still have these 16th dotted 8th figures, but in terms of all the rhythmic complexity, it's mostly in the instruments, at least thus far.
You stepped inside with a vibe I ain't never seen. Yes, you did.
You'll kind of see a trend evolving with the verse lines. He always starts off with these, pretty simplistic vocal lines, but he always has this little addendum at the end that changes each time, and in this case, it's not even sung.
So girl, if you talk like you walk, come and talk to me. But look here.
In the second verse, we repeat this, but we have a little more complex melismas as well as some more just spoken words.
But first, may I just say that your face got me so intrigued. I'm so intrigued.
Of course, it's here in the second part of the second verse that we get these 3-part harmonies on Booty Can't Find a Beat before going back to some more loosely rhythmic spoken lines.
But what good is beauty if your booty can't find a beat? I don't wanna know, girl. So
Pre-chorus.
Now, the pre-chorus is where we start to get things a bit more complicated. Obviously, we now have three-part harmonies, we have more dramatic melismas, but also note that the rhythms are now much more syncopated than they were in the verse. And notice how we're now focusing more on 16th figures as opposed to 8th note figures, unless we're holding out long melismas or doing harmonies.
It would break my heart, break my heart, break my heart if I find out you can't move.
This all gets exaggerated even further in the second half of the pre-chorus. We now have three-part harmonies with these up and down, very quick melismas, and now we really get some syncopation, especially on the end. You know what to do.
You better show me now, show me now, show me now. Cause when I take it to the floor, ooh, you gotta get down, you know what to do.
The second pre-chorus is pretty much identical, minus one big change on the melisma on move. Obviously, we still have the main harmonies, but now Bruno has a main vocal line that stands out a little bit more, even amongst that melisma.
Cause it would break my heart, break my heart, break my heart if I find out you can't move.
Chorus.
The chorus starts off with this back and forth between Bruno and the backup vocalist. The backup vocalist doing these three-part harmonies on the O's in syncopation, and then we have this sort of kind of jumpy line from Bruno Mars, starting with that "Hey Mr. DJ," and we have a little bit of more melodic up and down on the following line, "Play a song for this pretty little lady."
Hey Mr. DJ, play a song for this pretty little lady.
The second part of the chorus does still have that back and forth on the syncopated lines, but as we get into the name of the song, when Bruno starts saying "I just might," it gets a little bit drawn out. Melodically, it gets a little narrower before we finally end on that harmony on the word "hey" with the backup vocals.
Cause if she dances good as she look right now, I just might make her my baby. I just might make her my baby. Hey.
The second chorus is pretty much the same, but we finally start to get some changes in the third and final chorus, besides the fact that it's just, twice as long. A little different on "Hey Mr. DJ," more shouting, and when we start off, they play a song that is much higher than it was originally.
Hey Mr. DJ, play a song for this pretty little lady.
Even in the following section on the "I Just Might Make Her My Baby," we notice he's now added a triplet for emphasis, and the word "baby" is higher than it was originally.
Cause if she dances good as she look right now, I just might make her my baby. I just might make her my baby.
As we keep on moving, "Hey Mr. DJ" is now sung completely differently and much higher and held out, and the "Play a Little Song for This Lady" has this big melisma on the word "lady" going up and down.
Hey Mr. DJ, play a song for this pretty little lady.
And as we get to the end of the third chorus, he has a couple of more changes, especially on "Look Right Now," but he does go back to the normal line on "I Just Might Make Her My Baby," and we once again end with the "hey" harmony.
Cause if she dances good as she look right now, I just might make her my baby. I just might make her my baby. Hey.
Post-chorus.
So the post-chorus is literally just what happened in the intro, but now we have an additional line of the main vocals, Bruno Mars, repeating "I just might."
I just might. Oh, I just might.
Bridge.
So the bridge actually opens off with just Bruno Mars going on syncopated woes, all kind of within the same melodic range. The highest we get is that C near the top of the staff, but we do get to the D right below the staff.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Actually getting into the lyrics of the bridge, this is actually the lowest he gets for like a main vocal line minus some of the ad-libs he was doing earlier. The highest we ever get in this section is that F on the staff, and you can see how low he goes, both of these lines, and on that low G.
This the part where you break it all the way down, 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 down. This the part where I turn you all the way around, round, round, round.
But obviously, as we get to the third and final chorus of the song, he starts to pick up the energy, gets higher in his range, all the way to that C on the top of the staff, and then we have this huge harmony from the backup vocals on the word "need" before he does this sort of like spoken line, and then "you're coming home with me."
Put some spirit in it, put your heart into it, that's all I need. And if I like what I see, you're coming home with me.
I will say, after having done the previous 3 Bruno Mars songs we did for Pop Analysis, all of the duets with Rosé, with Cardi B, with Lady Gaga, it's nice to actually finally get back to just a solo Bruno Mars track, and we haven't done one of those since really early days of Pop Analysis, like 2016. So it's nice to see a return. It's also nice that he's actually doing a full album. We haven't gotten an album from him. I mean, he had the Silk Sonic, but that was with Anderson .Paak. So the fact that he's now doing solo stuff again is great. And again, his songs are always great to move to, always good to dance to, always with a little bit of funk. So if you ever hear this come on,
You know what to do. Hey, Mr. DJ. Play a song of this pretty little lady. 'Cause if she dances good as she look right now.
but for real though, he hasn't had a charting solo hit all the way since the 24 Karat Magic era. I believe the last one was 2018's Finesse, and even that had a remix featuring Cardi B.